what are some things that you need to know before selling your practice? It's an excellent question. I think that the most important things that I could share with a dentist prior to selling the practice is to be prepared for the transition, in other words, retirement, financially. Practice sales are not a retirement plan in and of itself. They may be the icing on the cake, but it's good to be able to be financially set to the point where you're no longer going to need that income. That's one thing. The other thing is, believe it or not, it's a pretty difficult process emotionally, which most dentists probably don't think is going to happen. In other words, the idea of selling a practice sounds great, and then as you get into it, you start to realize that this is your baby that you've nurtured for maybe 30, 40 years in some cases, and there is a little bit of a letting go process that I think dentists need to go through in selling the practice. Some of the mechanical, logistical things we really take care of for you, but as a seller, if I were to look at what to be prepared for, it would be that. It would be the letting go of the business, and number two, being financially secure.
For selling, it's very important that you are economically capable of selling. You need to know what your assets and liabilities are. You need to know how much money you need to retire, on which to retire. You need to know if you're going to need to work in the practice after the sale, because there's no guarantee on this. And so I would say the most important thing to know is your finances before retirement. The next thing before retirement or before transitioning a practice is to know what you're going to do after transition. Dentists are very driven, and if you don't have something to retire to, it's not going to be a very enjoyable retirement. And the last, and maybe still one of the most important things, is that you realize when you sell your practice, it's like selling your baby. It will no longer be yours. You're not able to run it anymore. It is truly like selling a car. You're not going to get behind the wheel after it's sold.
Some of the best things you need to know before selling your practice is just to call up your broker, call your accountant, call your financial advisor. Put your financial advisor and accountant in touch with the broker, because basically, you want to know what the tax ramifications are. You want to know the value of the practice. And so with those numbers, your accountant and your financial advisor can tell you what to expect once you sell your practice. And that's probably the most important thing to know. So put those people in touch early on in the process. It may change how many years you think you have to work before you retire.
Well, I think it helps to know a little bit about the availability of capital and how that's going to happen in the transition. I think you need to know a little bit about the buyer pool and where they're going to come from and what their experience level has been. Likely to some of the financial demands that they're going to have as a result of a much higher level of student loan debt than the seller most likely had when they graduated.
I get asked often by dentists who are preparing to transition out of dentistry, what should I do to prepare my practice for sale or for a transition? The best thing to do is to make sure that business systems are set in place so the practice continues to develop revenue, continues to generate profit, and stays on a steady, even plane, perhaps even slightly increasing as best as it can. So don't scale back, don't throttle back on any marketing or new patient development. Continue to practice the dentistry that has gotten the practice to where it is now. Predictable, sustained earnings is something that's very easy to attach value to. So most dentists who are looking at practices who want to step into the realm of ownership would like to see slow and steady progress or growth and good profit. So my best advice would be good business systems, perhaps a management consultant who can come in and provide some advice, continue to build the practice internally and continue to build a good foundation so that a buyer coming in or a new owner coming in will have that solid foundation to continue to practice dentistry and carry forth the legacy that's been created by the previous seller.